This is about wisdom and self-centeredness. When we think about wisdom, it is something beyond the idea or even some level of insight, but deeper from the core of our being as to what to do. And if we are narrow-minded, self-centered, that kind of a wisdom may not pop up. Also, awakening is a form of wisdom, as I see it. When it comes to the spiritual awakening, it takes so much time and energy, perseverance to crack through who I am, the notion of know thyself. And only when we go through the barriers that is confined or constrained by the mind, then something opens up. Aha, the great invention, but the greatest of the great is the awakening, to be able to connect to the power, the source, infinite intelligence that we have. Because we are the product of infinite intelligence, the wisdom of universe, if I call it, of the law of the universe prevailing. And if we can connect to that, not being obstructed by the constraint of the mind, we find that major awakening moment. So, on the topic of selfishness and wisdom, selfishness should not go with wisdom. Instead, the wisdom is connected to unselfishness, which is open-minded, connecting to the source of who we are, so that the laws of the universe prevails. So if we think, that's the danger, if we think about the case of how we navigate our life, one idea that I can talk about is the koan. Koan is the paradox of the framework of the mind versus the laws of the universe, how they can be connected. One of the koan, actually this is not the koan in a typical sense, but what I found as the koan is a story of Buddha meeting the army who was to perish the Shaka clan, where Shaka, or the Buddha, was the son of the king. And the army came, and the Buddha met them on the road, and the army stopped, and that was the first day. The second day, the third day, Buddha stopped, blocking sort of the army to proceed. But the fourth day he was gone. And the result is that the Shaka clan, the people in the kingdom, was taken over, perished. That bothered me as a koan. Why did Buddha or Shakyamuni in Japanese, left the road? How can he justify that? Thinking this over maybe 30, 40 years, I had prior understanding or my view of it, which is something like he had something else better to do instead of standing on the road for the rest of his life. But that's too easy to say so. But how can he do it and in that manner? And if you are in a similar situation, what do you do? That's the koan in a broader sense. So we face difficulties, and I have one, it's not army, but I thought I could do something about this army coming to my way. It's not the actual army, but in a different setting. Then I was to spend time and energy to work with this army to see how it can be processed so that we find the meaning of path. Then I get to the point after spending so much time and energy and felt like, what's the point of it? So when I thought about that point, I thought about this koan of Buddha and the army. The question is whether or not I have the wisdom to see something meaningful for me to do. That's always the koan of life. You have choice A, B, C, D, and which one to choose. And now I face this koan or the question of the army. It's not the actual army, but one incident or the process that I'm involved in. Should I continue pushing or working, or should I stop and do something else? Let's think if I'm age 93 or 100, doesn't matter. Would I be standing there to talk and my health is deteriorating? I would say enough is enough at a certain point. Or you can still fight until the end of your life. But depending upon the circumstance of who I am, what I can, what I see as potential, and that's the insight or wisdom to come up. And depend on the situation, it changes. And that's life. That's the nature of the wisdom, as I see it. And accordingly, I can make the judgment connected to the root and connected to the situation, specific situation I face, externally, but internally. So on this issue that I'm concerned about, I don't have the solution. I may still be figuring out the process or taking rest and come back, or decide to choose other path if there's the other path open. Probably what I would do is to not rush, assess the situation and figure out. But in the process of assessing the situation, I may interact with this army. Army is just an idea in representing this issue I'm talking about, the people, the setting, and to see what may come up right. No need to rush, need to be connected to the root of who I am and figure out that's how I should navigate my life. So that koan that I put to myself, Buddha and army, manifest in various forms, depending upon my situation in life, depending upon the circumstance, depending upon how healthy or energized I am, or how I'm deeply connected to the root of who I am. So that's the koan I face in my life. And we all face the same koan, how to navigate our life. And I believe the way of Zen, if I may just say so, is to be able to make the correct judgment by having a calm and quiet mind. No rush, assess, and make a move as needed. As much as I may do it when I'm surfing, when the environment changes, the wave shape changes, and figuring out how to do. Army, Buddha, surfing, how to navigate our life. It's the same koan. in a different form, but may give me a sense of how to choose the path to live my life from moment to moment. Thank you.